Hi learners, Mrs. C. Suganti, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Administration with Computer Application, St. Joseph's College of Arts and Science for Women, Hosur. Today, I'm going to discuss with you about estimating working capital requirements. So, what does mean by working capital? Working capital is a day-to-day expenses of an organization. Working capital is the lifeblood and controlling nerve center of a business. No business can run successfully without an adequate amount of working capital. To avoid the shortage of working capital, an estimate of working capital requirements should be made in advance so that arrangement can be made to procure adequate working capital. But estimation of working capital is not an easy task, and a large number of factors have to consider before starting this exercise. For a manufacturing organization, the following factors have to be taken into consideration while making an estimate of working capital requirements. Let's we see what are all the factors we need to consider at the time of estimating working capital requirements. In that, the first one, the company should know total quantity of units to produce throughout the year. And the second one, the total cost of incurred on material, labor and overheads. And third, the length of time for which raw materials are to be remain in stores before they are issued to production. And in the fourth one, the length of production cycle or work in progress. And the fifth one, the length of sales cycle. This is the period during which finished goods will remain in the warehouse. The average period of credit allowed to debtors. And the seventh one, the amount of cash required to pay day-to-day expenses. Eighth one, the average period of credit allowed by creditors. Ninth one, time lag in payment of wages and overheads. By knowing all these only, the manufacturing company can estimate the working capital requirements. And the next one, methods of calculating working capital requirements. What are all the methods are available to calculate the working capital requirements? There are three methods are available to calculate the working capital requirements. In that, the first one is by determining the amount of current assets and current liabilities. Working capital is the difference between current assets and current liabilities. In order to estimate the requirements, working capital, one has to forecast the amount of current assets and current liabilities. So by this way, we can calculate the working capital requirement. This is the first method, by determining the amount of current assets and current liabilities. And the second method is operating cycle method. With the help of operating cycle, we can calculate the working capital requirement. The operating cycle of a firm begins with the acquisition of raw materials and ends with the collection of receivable. So by calculating a working capital requirements by using operating cycle method, we are having one formula, and that is O is equal to open bracket R plus W plus F plus D close the bracket minus C, where O is equal to duration of operating cycle, where R is equal to raw materials average storage period, where W is equal to work in progress average process period, and F is equal to finished goods average storage period, and D is equal to debtors collection period, and C is equal to creditors payment period. So this we consist of operating cycle, and these are all the players of your operating cycle. So by knowing all these, with the help of this, we can calculate the working capital requirement is called as operating cycle method. And the last one is in percentage of sales method. In this method, the level of working capital requirement is decided on the basis of past experience. The past relationship between sales and working capital is taken as a base for determining the size of working capital requirements. For example, the previous financial year we spent high percentage of working capital on sales, means the same 25 percentage on sales we are expecting this year also. So that method we called as percentage of sales method. So by this way we can calculate the working capital requirements. Thank you, learners.